BookTube, it's Missy, and here is part 3 of my bookshelf tour of 2015. We are heading towards the mystery, and this shelf is a lot bigger than the other one. There is going to be mystery and more fantasy on this shelf because I had to stack them all and put them all in the same shelf, save space, and so I will see you in a bit. So here is just the overview of this gigantic shelf. Good grief. Yes, I do have to have a clock there. Let me take the books off and we will start with fantasy. Okay, so first things first, we have Frank Bador's. This one doesn't have a dust jacket. This is the Looking Glass Wars. And I believe this is YA, but this is a steampunk science fiction retelling of Alice in Wonderland. I chose to keep it with the fantasies because it's a retelling of Alice in Wonderland. Otherwise, it should technically be down there with the science fiction. I also have Seeing Red, which is the sequel, book 2, and also Arch Enemy, book 3. Okay, next we have The Divine Misfortune by A. Lee Martinez. I believe this is an adult fantasy or like a magical realism. I can't remember. Next we have Down the Misterly River by Bill Willingham. He also does the Fable graphic novels. I could be wrong, but Willingham sounds familiar. Anyways, this is a middle grade book. Next we have The Splendor Falls by Rosemary Clement Moore. Now remember, all these books I have not read yet, so some of them I will forget. But this is a fantasy. I don't remember what. Sorry. Next I have John Connolly's The Book of Lost Things. This is a retelling, or a dark retelling, of fairy tales. The boy is in a dark place. I think maybe a parent died or something, and then he goes to like this fantasy world in his head and meets all these dark like fairy tale creatures. I don't know if it's in his head or if he actually goes to this place, but it's a dark fairy tale retelling. Next we have The Revenge of the Shadow King by Derek Benz and J.S. Lewis. I took this I bought this from the library bookstore for $1. I know nothing about this other than it's like a middle grade YA fantasy, and the guy looked really creepy, kind of like the witch from The Legend. If you guys have seen Legend with Tom Cruise, that looks like the witch from the swamp who wants to eat Jack, and I had to buy it. I don't know what it's about. Next we have Antigoddess by Kendar Blake, the one who wrote Anna Dressed in Blood. This is a Greek mythology retelling. And then we have the sequel Mortal Gods, Ungodly, which is the third, comes out in September. And I didn't even notice they both match, like the spines. But the first one is The Murk and Midnight Hour by Jan Nickerson. This is a Southern Gothic retelling. I can't remember what the retelling is of because I'm terrible. And this one is Strands of Bronze and Gold. And this is a retelling of Bluebeard, which I have not read before. Thank you, Penelope. She sent that book to me. Next we have Mortal Danger by Anna Guire. This is a fantasy retelling, I think, of... Oh, goodness, I can't remember. I'm losing it. Next, we have Les Limpo, and this is from Lauren Oliver. This is a middle grade fantasy book. Then we have Damsel by Stephanie Spinner. And, yeah, another fantasy. And we have How the Leopard Got His Spots and Other Stories by Rudyard Kipling. This is my husband's book. I think he had to read it in school. And then we have Come on now, let me take it out. We have Dreams and Shadows by C. Robert Cargill. This also is a fantasy, The Queen of Shadows or something like that. I don't know if it's a companion novel or if it is the actual sequel. Is on Book Outlet right now, but I told myself I wasn't buying any more books, so it's going to have to sit there forever. Plus, it's, hold on. Plus, it's like $7.99 for a hardback, and I don't want to pay that price. Next, we have The Blade Itself, Book 1 of the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. This is a epic fantasy. I don't know really anything about it, but all the fantasy girls read it, and they say it's good, so I want to try and check it out. And I also have Finnegan of the Rock by Melina Marchetta. I got this on vacation. It was $1. I love dollar books. And I have this little bookmark, or like a separator that I made yesterday for fantasy and retellings, so I knew that it was the end of my fantasy books. Now let's come up here. You guys have seen this a few days ago, but we have The Fifth Circle of Heck, which is called Snivel, Where the Whiny Kids Go, by Dale E. Bazzi. And then, oops, that's 7th. Then we have Book 6, which is Percocia, Where the Smarty Pants Kids Go. And then we have Book 7, which is Wise Acres, Where the Sassy Kids Go. They are all stacked up there because, you know, I need the room. I don't have 1 through 4. I need to get them soon. Next we have The School for Good and Evil, A World Without Princes, and this is by Soman Chiani. This is the 2nd book. I don't own the first one, and I didn't even notice that it said it had a poster in here, but I don't see a poster. Maybe I'll look later. Anyways, there's that. And then we have The Stolen Child by Keith Donahoe. I believe this is an adult fantasy. I don't know. I got that for $1 from Book Off. And then up here we have, let me pull this down, The Dante Club by Matthew Pearl. I believe this is adult, and you know I like Dante's Inferno, so I thought that this would be a good book. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Next we have, we have Masterminds by Gordon Corman. This is a middle grade arc, as you can tell, about kids being superheroes, I think, or something to that effect. I got this, I won this on Goodreads, and I do need to read it soon. As you can see, I got it in February, so I feel bad that I haven't read it yet. Next we have Complicit by Stephanie Kewen. I don't know anything about this book. Again, it's fantasy. And lastly of the fantasies, I have The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is the first book in a trilogy, I believe. I think it's... No, I don't want to pretend I know what it is. I thought it was a book about books, but I could be wrong. I have a lot of books about books. So yeah, I do like that spine. Alright, so that was all of the fantasies. Let me put these books away and I will get to my... what's coming up next? My mystery books. See you in a second. Forgot to mention, I do have The Lies of Locke Lamora, the first book. The Bastard trilogy, I think. And this is by Scott Lynch. And I also have The Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. These both are, like, this is high fantasy, I think, and this is some other epic fantasy. I don't know. I have both of these fantasy books there. Okay, on to my mystery. So this is like a mystery thriller. We have The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Steg Larsson. This is a adult mystery book about a girl who is a computer hacker who has to help find the killer of some girl, or what happened to the girl when she was supposed to have been dead. I don't know. I haven't read the books. I've seen the movies. This is the sequel, The Girl Who Played with Fire, again by Steg Larsson. I'm probably saying his last name wrong, or at least his first name. you see I have to hide them behind the clock because it doesn't fit. And also The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. No, I didn't buy it for $15.99. I bought it for $1. Thank you, Book Off. Okay, and then last thing behind the clock is The Sixes by Kate White. This is a mystery chicklet book. So it's an adult novel. Alright. So the first mystery that goes in the front is The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie by Alan Bradley. This is a Flavia de Luce mystery. I believe this is adult. And then I have the, oops, that's upside down. I have the sequel, The Weed That Strings the Hangman's Bag. Then I have a red herring without mustard. I did buy it from Barnes & Noble for $4.98. That's a very good deal for a hardback. And lastly, another bargain priced book from Barnes & Noble, I Am Half Sick of Shadows. There are, I want to say there's 6 or 7 of these books in the series, but I only have the first 4. Let's see. Nearly Gone by Ellie Cosimo. Mystery thriller, I think. That's YA. And then we have The Alienist by Caleb Carr. This is an adult mystery. Then we have Creatures of the Night by Kate Thompson, another YA mystery. Okay, so next on the mysteries we have The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. This is the sequel to Angels and Demons, which is Robert Langdon's second book. Alright, and I also have, these books are so big. Inferno by Dan Brown. This is the 3rd book. And lastly, we have The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown, the 4th book. Okay, this won't fit. Next we have The 12, A New Beginning by William Gladstone. This is a Mayan mystery. Okay, the next book is Shade by Neil Jordan. That's a YA, I think, or maybe it's an adult. I can't remember, but it's like a historical fiction mystery. And then we have The Lamplighter by Anthony O'Neill. Again, another mystery I don't know anything about. And then we have Special Topics in Calamity Physics by Marisha Pessel. This is a YA, I believe. This is Marisha Pessel's debut novel before she wrote Night Film, so I definitely want to get to this one. It's also interactive. It's got other things in there, like a syllabus or whatever, which I think is super cool. And now we come to Instruments of Darkness by Imogen Robertson. This is a mystery series. I don't know what the series' name is, but this is the first book. Then we have Anatomy of Murder. And then we have Island of Bones. Okay, and then we have Circle of Shadows. The last book of the series is called, like, Theft of Life, but I don't have it yet. So, I will have to get it later. We also have, or I also have where am I? The Solitary House by Lynn Shepard. This is also a mystery. I think it's like a retelling, but I can't be certain. And when I also looked this up, it was like the second book in a series, but I don't know if the series is like a companion novel, if I have to read the first book first. I'm kind of bummed that that's not the first book. I also have Bristol House by Beverly Swirling. I think this is a adult, pretty sure it's an adult mystery. I always say the biggest books are adults. Then we have The Bookman's Tale, a novel of obsession by Charlie Lovett. Again, another adult mystery. Okay, and then we have London Falling. Oh, you can see it right there. An urban fantasy, but it's a mystery. I don't know. By Paul Cornell. It's hard to do these, like, get these books together by genre, especially when they're kind of similar to other genres, if that makes sense. So I did my best. If it was mostly fantasy or mostly mystery, then I just put it in that genre. And then lastly, we have Knightley and Son. This is a middle grade mystery by Rowan Gavin. Push that in there. Alright, and the last 3 books of my mystery shelf is, let's see, The Four Last Things by Andrew Taylor. It's hard to do this with my left hand. We have The Office. Oh, that's the 3rd book. We have The Judgment of Strangers. Oh, it's the Roth trilogy, again by Andrew Taylor. And then lastly, we have The Office of the Dead by Andrew Taylor. I really like these covers. They're super cool. Alright, so that was the 3rd shelf. As you can see, it's 1:35. I've started this at 9 o'clock. I've been doing this forever. I did take a lunch break, but oh my gosh. Alright, I will see you in part 4. Bye!